Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever TOT guide. As you can see in the title, this video will be covering the way to calculate and earn S-chips easily. Second Annie and Hoyo Fest last year already attracted a lot of new players, so I can tell by the time this video releases, there will be even more newcomers, especially since both Hoyo Fest and Third Annie are coming up. So I hope this will help those new or inexperienced players. Before I start, I'd like to inform you that this video will be divided into 3 sections. The first section will be a brief introduction to the game itself, Tears of Themis. The second is dedicated to the sources of earning S-chips easily. And the last is contributed to how I calculate my savings before a certain event. Nevertheless, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, so I'm gonna head straight into the guide. If I have done or said anything wrong in this video, I apologize in advance. And before I start, I'd like to welcome new players in advance. Enjoy your stay in Stelis. Okay, so what is Tears of Themis? Tears of Themis is the only Hoyoverse otome game. For those who aren't familiar with the term otome games are games where it includes romance, mainly consists of the MC and a few other MLs, where they try and pursue the MC. The game, Tears of Themis, is actually somewhat similar to Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail for those trailblazers and travelers. Except, although their other games are RPGs where you gain primos from exploration and side quests, the OT is an otome game where you gain the currency from events most of the time. Their in-game currency is actually pretty easy to understand if you've played their other games before. For example, S-chips in TOT are like stellar jades in HSR. Stellans in TOT are like credits or mora in HSR or Genshin. Gems in TOT are basically the top-up crystals, except instead of converting at a rate from 1 to 1, it converts from 1 to 10. And the gray passes from HSR are the usual purple tiers, while the orange ones are the special ones. Be aware though, even though in Genshin and HSR there are only 2 types of pools, in TOT there are different types of pools, so it's best not to convert your S-chips into pools, especially if you're saving for a certain event. Then there's also Luke, who is the child of TOT, Vin, the Baizu of TOT, Artem, the Ayato in TOT, then Marius, the Okay, sorry. In TOT, the pity system may vary, unlike HSR and Genshin. Sometimes it may be 80 or 90 pity for birthday banners, and most of the time 100 for the other banners. Aside from that, the conversion rate from S-chips into pools are also different. While in Genshin and HSR, it's 160 primos into pools, in TOT, it's 180 S-chips into pools. Right, so the first source to earning S-chips easily is by mail. And what I mean by mail is like the Hoyo Lab daily check-in that we usually do. If you do not have Hoyo Lab, you can just go to Google and search up Tears of Themis check-in. There will be a check-in where you can just check in every single day, and by checking in you can get several rewards, those including S-chips. S-chips can vary from 20 to 30 to 50 S-chips. Even though it's not much, I think it's still really helpful to earning S-chips easily. I mean, it's better than earning nothing, right? And of course, the first main source of earning S-chips is also by doing your daily task. For example, you get at least about like 30 S-chips per day. It's not as much as Genshin and Honkai Star Rail daily commissions where you get 60 per day, but at least it's something, you know. What Genshin and Honkai Star Rail doesn't have, though, is the weekly task that only Tears of Themis have as of now, I think, where you can get like 50 and 50 at 120 and 150, which makes up 100 S-chips per week. So I suggest to do weekly tasks. So like combined, it can get you about a certain amount, which is actually pretty good. Next, the second main source of earning S-chips is of course from none other than events. Usually if there's a massive event, I would have like an event, it would pop up right here or right here. But that's only if there's a massive event. If it's like a mini events like the one that we're having right now, we would be having in here this event. just press that button, and then there will be several events. For example, as of now, there's this like daily events where you do daily tasks, gain these stuff to like open the boxes here, and then for this one you get like a total of 100 S chips and 2 pulls for the upcoming anniversary. For this one, you just need to invite a friend back. Like if they haven't played Tears of Themis for a long time, you can invite them and you get free pulls by doing so. And then there's also the Loving Reveries. This is basically like the battle pass of Tears of Themis, but instead of calling it Nameless Honor or Battle Pass, we call it Reveries here. Of course, by reaching a certain level, just by like doing this task here, you level up, and then you get rewards by reaching, like for example, level 10. Let's say you get 50. Reaching level 20, you get 50 again. And then reaching level 30, you don't get any S chips, but you get like a discounts if you want to purchase. For level 40, you get another 50. So in total, for the reveries, you can get up to 150 S chips. And then in level 45 and level 50, you get 2 pulls. 1 pull per each, of course. And lastly, since it's common in Otomi games, basically every time you sign in or log in, you get S chips. Well, not S chips, but it really varies. For example, to be honest, there's like this luck-based thing. Of course, you get S chips. For example, on the 1st or 6th or 11th or 16th or 21st of the month, you get like S chips for logging in. Sometimes the reward may double. For example, right now I have a Standing Davis. The Standing Davis gives like half of that reward, like it adds half of that reward. For example, this base here is like 2, and then half of 2 is 1. So because I got the standing one today, I got 2 plus 1, which is 3 rewards. It applies the same for S chips. For example, if you get the Standing Davis, you get 50 S chips, right? Half of 50 is 25. So 50 plus 25, you get 75 if you're lucky enough. There's also the Fortune Davis, where he's like standing with flowers. That gives you double the reward. For example, the base reward here is 2, so it gives you 100% of that again. So 2 plus 2 equals to 4. Or if you get S chips here, for example, you accidentally got the Flower Davis on the 16th or the 21st, so you double that reward because you get another 100% of that reward, which gives you 200. That's only if you're lucky enough though. And lastly is the Sitting Davis, where you just get the usual rewards where there's no bonus or anything. And of course, if you're also a monthly user, you also get the 80 S chips per day. And if you also log in like without missing a day until the end of the month, you also get these full sign rewards. If you're an F2P, you get 200. If you're a monthly card user like me, you get 500 in total. Next is the field work. Although field work doesn't give you much S chips, it at least gives you like, it's basically the bounty and request of Tears of Themis from Genshin. By reaching certain levels, there's like 2 basically. There's the basic and the advanced, but I already completed both. By reaching a certain level, for example level 11, you get 50 S chips. For completing 5 debates within a lawsuit and reaching at level 25, you get 30. And it basically applies the same for all the male leads like Marius, Vin, and Luke. And then there's even the achievement overviews as well, which can give you certain amounts of S chips by completing the achievement task. Then of course there's also the advance. It's the same thing basically, it's just like a different and harder level. For Artem and the other male leads, it's the same basically. At level 11 you get 50, and then at level 21 you get 100, 23 you get 150, and so on. Basically you can like gain S chips from field work as well, but it takes time, So if you're like wanting to earn immediate S chips, then that's not really a way. Next is the cards. Basically, by pulling for cards, you obviously get different types of rarity, right? Like R or SR or SSR. For R's, you cannot get S chips from those unless it's like an achievement task. But for SRs, it can actually give you certain amounts of S chips. For example, if you got a new card and you haven't read the story yet, let's say Luke. How do you read the story here? And there's this reward button here for completing all the stories. You get like 50, like 70 S chips for completing all the story. And it goes the same for everything else. For SSR, the reward is sort of different. You get, I'm too lazy to do maths. Basically, you get more rewards for completing SSR stories. That aside, you can also get rewards from MRs and the audio SR cards. You don't get MRs by pulling for a card though. You get MRs by participating in those bingo events. It's not much, but it gives you at least 45 S chips for completing the 2 stories, and for the SR audio ones, it gives you the same amount. Before I move on, there's also the achievement task, which can also get you S chips. The achievement task isn't updated right now, but after like a certain date, it will update, and you can get like about 4k S chips by completing them. Basically, they're just like the achievements, you complete achievements and then you get those rewards. And by like reaching a certain point, you might even get extra rewards sometimes, but to be honest, I don't think so. It can be determined how much points you have. Next is the NXX. For F2Ps, no, you cannot gain anything from the NXX. But if you have like topped up once at least, yes, you do get rewards. For example, if you topped up like here. For example, you topped up at once, which gives you level 1, because for level 1, you only need to top up with 6 points. And then you get these like daily benefits. If you're a monthly card user like me, you get 2 per day. But if like you just topped up once and that's it, and you're not a monthly card user, you only get 1. You can get S chips or other materials from here, and sometimes if you're lucky enough, you might even get Tears of Themis. Next is the Stellus, of course. Stellus, to be honest, like is basically weekly. You can only get S chips from Stellus weekly. Sometimes like every Monday it resets, and then it gives you like 4 tasks to complete, and by completing each task you get 10 S chips. So 10 S chips. So by like completing all, you get 40 S chips. It's not much, but at least it's something, right? Basically, these commissions are just like the usual Genshin commissions. You can either debate, or you can just do like those mini story quests, and they just give you S chips. The next main income is from completing these stories. So maybe if you're like in a hurry to get S chips, you can just speedrun the stories like how I did. To be honest, I'm still not yet done reading this episode. You can just speedrun through this, and then you can read it like later when you have time. For completing each like episode, for example, you completed 1, you get 40 S chips by completing them, and then debate also goes 40 S chips, and then you just basically complete everything here, and that already gives you like a lot of amounts. You can also like once you complete, you also get these rewards. Basically, the only valuable one to me here is the tears. And then once you complete a certain story, a certain chapter, you also get the anomaly, where anomaly is basically the same thing like the story, except there's no stories and it's all just debates. It's the same reward. For example, once you finish a certain level, you get 40 S chips. It just goes on until you finish everything. And for the rewards here, it gives you 100 S chips. It's less cheaper than the, like, it's not that generous compared to the story quest, but it's still okay for me. And then there's also the study level, where, to be honest, this only works for the not the F2P, the new players. For example, if you haven't completed the debate levels, for clearing it the first time, you get 40 S chips. But I've already done that like 2 years ago maybe. And then this is also a very easy way to earn S chips. Basically, the Temple of Trials resets weekly, and per week you can get up to 400 S chips. So by doing that, it actually gives you a lot. Sorry. Then there's also the Trials of Themis, which I've completed a long time ago. Basically, the Trials of Themis have these certain levels. It's sort of like Spiral Abyss, I guess, but instead of like it refreshing it, this one doesn't refresh. It's like once you're done with it, you're just done with it. Basically, by completing certain levels, like you can get like a certain amounts. Yeah, I can't go back. You can get like a certain amounts of S chips. To be honest, this one is actually pretty generous, but as I said, the level here gets harder, so this may take time to complete. Although it only requires 5 AP to spend. So if like you feel like your deck is already good enough to complete this, then you can try your luck with this. But it did take me a long time, so this isn't really like the best way to earn S chips easily. It's just like if you complete a certain level, you get a lot, you know. Sorry. For the last one that I know, you can gain S chips from the male leads by completing their Blossom chapter, of course, which I have completed years ago. I think for the story, if I remember correctly, you get like 20 S chips for completing a story, and for completing a debate level you get 40. Yes, you get 40 for completing debate level. But either way, these MLs have like their own stories, so like they have 4 episodes, and then if you haven't completed the rest as well, you can also get S chips from the rest. Aside from that, there's also the sweet chapter, which is basically after they started dating. You can gain... Oh, Artem doesn't have chapter 3. Yeah, basically you can gain S chips from doing their stories. It's actually pretty short compared to the longer... compared to the sweet chapter. By completing them, I think you can gain like 200 to 300 S chips, which isn't much, I think. But if you multiply it with the other 4, then it is. Next, you can also gain S chips from interacting with the male leads. For example, right now, the max one is level 35. But I think they're gonna update it soon so that it can reach level 40. But yeah, by reaching certain amounts of affectionate levels, you can get S chips from them too. For example, this one, you can gain like 20, yeah. Basically, every time you reach a level, like a certain level from level 26, every time you reach a certain level, you get 20 S chips. I know that's not much, but if you multiply it with the other male leads, I think that could actually be a lot. So, yeah, I think that's about it. You don't get S chips from visions, though sometimes for like certain events, they might offer like discounts, which can save you a lot of tiers. For example, you just, for a certain 10 pool, you just need to spend 8, and then sometimes they do that like 4 times, which can actually get you like 8 free pools if you think about it. So yeah, that's literally like the only sources that I know. to get S chips for the older players. Like if I missed anything, just comment down below. But I think that's seriously the only sources to get S chips. So now that I have like basically showed you guys the brief meaning of TOT and like how to calculate how to gain the S chips easily and the sources to gain the S chips, I'm gonna be teaching you guys I'm gonna be showing you guys my method on calculating S chips. For example, on, let's say right now it's the 5th of July. Let's say I want to pull on the 29th of July and I just want to know how much S chips, like roughly how much S chips I would have during that date. So I'm gonna be showing my method on calculating. To be honest, this method is really simple and I'm pretty sure everyone else have done it. But for those who are unaware, then I'll just like show it real quick on this video. If you guys are uninterested on this part, of course you guys can just like skip to the end. But for those who are, then I'll be showing. So starting from the current events, I'm gonna be taking from the events here. Right now, this is basically the current events, right? The upcoming events. So I'm gonna start from calculating from the upcoming events. So right now, the total would be 7,580 S chips, but I'm not sure if that is the literal amounts, like maybe with topping up or without topping up. So I'm just gonna calculate this part anyways, but if you guys are like wanting to skip this part, you guys can just add in to the calculator 7,580 S chips, but I'm just gonna go through them one by one for the sake of this video. So starting with Lantern Lit Wishes, which gives you 100 S chips. Where's my calculator? Yeah, whatever. So it gives us 100 S chips, but I myself already got 10 S chips from the events earlier, so I'm just gonna add 100 minus 10, so I get 90. And then we also get 2 free pools, so that adds 180. I'm not gonna add the pools, by the way, because it would be confusing, because either way in the end we would be using the same amounts, the same sources of S chips and pools. So I'm just gonna calculate all of them as S chips and then just convert them to pools later on. So right now we have 450, like 2 pools and 90 S chips combined. Next, the Trace of Tears exchange shop. For example, right now the exchange shop here, we have is like every 10 pull you get 1. So I'm just gonna do 1 10 pull actually for this event because I want to save up my funds. So for this one, we're just gonna add in one pull for that. The next yeah, this is pretty confusing. The next one is the returner gifts, which gives you 9 in total. Some of them includes like inviting friends. Here, for example, I should have the event page right here. Let me just move these 2 away. Okay, this is pretty frustrating. Alright, so there's the returner gifts, which gives you more pulls if you call your friends back. But if you're like lonely like me, then you only get 1 pull per week. So right now, okay, I'm just gonna do that. Right now, the returner gifts, I already claimed mine today, so I'm gonna add in again. I'm just gonna put that there, 180, and then like for 29th to come, that adds like 1 2 3 4 more weeks before I pull during that date. So I would actually have like 4 more pulls, so 4 times 180. and I just add that in to the other pool, to the other calculation. So I'm gonna continue with this list. Okay, now that we are done with calculating the events, I'm gonna start from the top here where we usually get the mail. Basically, I'm gonna start with my Google. Where's my Google? Okay, so for Hoyo Lab daily check-in, oh my gosh, this is so many. For the Hoyo Lab daily check-in, I already got 20 S-chips for today, so I'm just gonna load more. I'm gonna exclude that from the calculation. So the 29s is over here. So by the time I would be able to get all the S-chips for this month from the check-in. So I'm just gonna add plus 30, plus 30, and plus 50. And then we can exclude this from our calculation. And then from the mall, since I'll be topping up at the monthly fund as per usual, I think I can top up again before the event starts, but I don't think so. I'm gonna be spending any. As of now, I'm highly certain that I will get this back because it's always there anyways for the monthly card users, which I'll have 96 gems by the time. So 96 gems minus 15 is 81, and if I times 10 to that, I get 810 S-chips if I don't spend it on any other bundles. Since this is the lowest, because if I'm gonna spend it on any other bundles, they should be cheaper. Yeah. So just add that in. And then of course plus the 3 pools. And then I'm gonna, yeah, I don't think I'll be spending anymore, except for the invitation. Yeah, the 3rd anniversary invitation, if I have enough. And yeah. The next one is basically the task for doing dailies, of course. So for this one, I'm gonna need my calendar because I suck at counting. So for this one, I'm gonna be counting how many S-chips for doing my dailies. For example, here we're on the 5th, right? So 1, 2, 3. So I would have 24 days before my desired day of pulling. So 24 times 30 and 24 times 80 since I'm a monthly card user. Of course, if you're an F2P, you exclude that one from the calculation. But since I am a monthly card user, I'll just add that in for convenience. Then add it to your previous calculation, and right now, just by like doing the events and your like dailies, if you're a monthly card user, of course, you would already have almost about 100 pulls, which is actually pretty much already. And 100 pulls would be enough for one mail lead. So hooray! And then there's also the weekly task that we cannot forget, of course, since I already did my weekly task for this week. I'm gonna count how many weeks I would have. I would have 3 weeks, so 3 times 100, and then just add that in. And then I'm also gonna add the Temple of Trials into this calculation immediately, since per week we get like 400. Yeah, we get like 400 S-chips per week, and you can complete it by Monday either if you Monday too if you like speedrun through it. So we would have 4 weeks of that. 4 times 400, sorry, and 4 times 40. So just add both into the calculation. The next one is the achievement task, which I don't think so. Yeah, I'm gonna exclude that. they will update the achievement anyways, so this is just a rough calculation anyways. Fieldwork, I will not be gaining anything from the fieldwork since I already completed it. Cards, I don't have any stories that I've haven't finished reading. Divisions, I already calculated the 19 free pulls, but they would always have this discounted pulls, which is like drawing for drawing 10 pulls you only need to use up 8, and then you can use that like basically 4 times. So 4 times 2 is obviously 8, then you just multiply it with the amount of pulls, and I'll just add that in. Next is the NXX, and to be honest, we're not certain how much we can gain from the NXX either, so I'm gonna exclude that. I already calculated the Stellis. I already calculated the I already finished the main story, so I will not be needing to add that. I haven't finished the anomaly though, so one, two, three, four, five. And for each completing each level you get 40, so 5 times 40, and this one you get 100. Yep. And then just add it in to my previous calculation. Events, and I don't think so I'll be earning anything from here since I already finished all the personal stories as well. So now that I have finished calculating how much I will earn, I will add my current savings, which is 11,097, and I would basically have that much S chips. Of course, this isn't the total S chips. There's still like the free pools, which I converted into S chips for easier calculation. So now to convert to the actual pools, if I'm planning to spend all, of course I just need to divide them all by 180, and I would have about 178 pools by the time the events comes, by the 29th, of course. And yeah, basically that's how to calculate the amount of pools. I would have like about 179 pools ish. So yeah, that is how to calculate the amounts of S chips you want for that certain date. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier about this, because initially when I calculated, I got 182 pulls, but somehow I got 179-ish earlier, and I was just wondering what I was missing. But then I forgot about this, since I already calculated the other events, I'm gonna exclude that. I forgot about adding this in, so I'm just gonna add that in for now, for the sake of the video. So from 32, we're gonna add 50, 100, 100. Right? Yes. Exclude that pool. Divided by 180. Yeah. Basically, I think I'm still missing something, but yeah, don't forget to include this when you're calculating too. Yeah, that's all for the how to calculate and earn S chips easily video for today. Of course, if you guys have any questions, please just comment down below. I'm not used to making guides like this, and as you guys can tell, I'm pretty awkward with having a conversation with myself. So if you guys found this video awkward, just comment down below and try to like tell me how I should improve when making guides so that it doesn't sound as awkward. I've tried my best though, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this guide. I hope that it was helpful and fruitful to you guys, and I wish you all the best for your polls on the 3rd anniversary, because suddenly Tears of Themis has gotten a lot spicier. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.